There we go.
Oh. What's up, guys? Wow. Okay. That was a little much right there. So, little technical difficulties. We had the camera not even working, not even connecting. So,
Proof that we're live for one.
Yeah, great proof that we're
Oh my
actually
God.
live. But yeah, I guess that kind of threw the nerves out there. But
Well, we'll jump into it. Obviously, appreciate you taking the time tonight. I'm Brandon.
Michael Sabetti.
Mike here, Carolina's Luxury Realty. So really, again, appreciate you taking the time. Just give it a quick background. My name's Brandon. Been in real estate almost 4 years. I'm a Charlotte native from Waxhaw as well. And then, let's see, Mike, you've been in how long?
I've been a little over 2 years.
2 years.
Collectively, between the two of us, we've sold a little over $50 million in the past 2 years.
Past 2 years. So just want to take, about 25, 30 minutes or so, just really give you some knowledge, some insight, whether you're thinking about selling, have sold, thinking about interviewing, want to sell on your own, whatever it is, just some good insight on what that looks like and how we can help.
Yeah, we like to refer to this as part one of the seller workshop. It's overall, there's 151 steps throughout the entire selling process. Not to bore you, but at the same time, down the link, what you'll have is a downloadable link right in there for the 151 steps. You can go check that out. What we're going to do in the meantime is just kind of go right through it.
Yeah, this will be the first 15 steps. And really what this mostly is when we agree to say, hey, you know what, let's have a conversation to sit down. Let's talk about what it looks like, go some options over for you. This is what we do to prepare for that. Right. So this is, again, just an idea of what we do to make sure we're putting you in the best position, giving you the best information.
Yeah. So number one, it's just doing a lot of due diligence when it comes to checking out the tax records, making sure that you have, correct names on there, square footage, literally anything and everything when it comes to looking at and making sure that you have the right information.
Yeah. Going over the tax records is big, obviously legal names. Want to make sure you own the property. Want to make sure that everyone that's on the deed will be present because, again, want to make sure everyone has the same information. It's not being relayed differently. That we're all there and, get everyone's questions answered as well. And, of course, confirming square footage. That's one of the factors in giving you a range on a number of what that looks like for that could potentially be a value. Obviously, at the end of the day, we don't know what the home's worth. Nobody does. We just give you a range. But square footage obviously helps with that.
Yeah. Number two, legal description. So anything, neighborhoods, subdivisions,
multifamily, whatever, just the legal description, it really confirms it really easily in the tax records here. So not a whole lot to that one.
I think we like to refer to it as anything that's outside or surrounding the house. I mean, to a certain extent.
Yep. Inside home is big as well. And then, of course, number three, because again, two legal descriptions, not a whole lot to talk about on that. It's just one of the pieces of homework we do. Three, verifying legal names and owners. Like we said, want to make sure we're talking to the owner, right? Are we talking to Josh or Joshua? Want to make sure, because not everyone thinks that. Some people go by nicknames, this and that. We just want to make sure that we all have legal names that are in the correct spot.
Yeah. There was one time that me and Brandon, went on a listing together. All of a sudden, came to find out there was like 5 other people that were on the tax records, and we're like, do you even know these people? And but it was just kind of an ordeal. Just once you enter an environment, you never really know until you actually get
Luckily,
there.
we did our homework, prepared for that. So we not only found out there were multiple people on the deed, but there was also 5 individual properties. So what that really intended was, not without going too deep, it was 5 different listing agreements and all that stuff, just because, again, it was multiple properties and multiple people. So luckily we had everyone there as well, too. So, just part of doing the homework.
Number 4, looking at the mortgage history. That's a huge one because there's a lot of things that you can come to discover, such as if there's a foreclosure, if somebody's underwater when it comes to they've had to go through a lot of the process. But you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, really just kind of look at the background. Was it a quick claim deed? How long you own the property? It's a quick look. Just again, doing more homework and making sure we're talking to the right people, who owns the property. And just, again, honest with you, doesn't take a whole lot of time, just takes the right place to look, really about it.
Number 5, researching schools, shopping, and transportation employment.
Opportunities around there, because that can be big, right? Obviously, as real estate agents, we can't tell you, hey, this is a good school, this is a bad school. We're not allowed to say that. So when agents say that, they're telling the truth. What we can tell you are facts. I can say, hey, this is an award-winning school, or we can direct you to a website. I think it's greatschools.org or ncschools.org. We can put a link in there if you're curious, see where your kid's school ranks. But yeah, so really we just direct you to a website and say, look, if it fits what you're looking for, then we can move forward. But can't give a whole lot on the school part.
Right. Yeah. And there's not a whole lot that we can do there. Just direct them to a certain website.
Yeah. But shopping centers, so shopping, right? We want to know what's around you. Or you buy a big mall, or you buy, a bunch of shopping centers, or they new shopping centers, or the shopping centers to come that we may want to also take into effect or into account. Those are things we want to know. Some people want to live 5 minutes from a grocery store. Some people don't want to live close to a whole bunch of shopping malls because the people in traffic. So these are things, obviously, again, we just want to know the area and just kind of get a feel for it.
One of the biggest things is, one, detailed info about the property itself when you're thinking about, or when you're talking about upgrades, any kind of renovation that's done, like, adding on a bathroom, adding on a bedroom, any kind of permits that needed to have been pulled when it comes to that.
Yeah. So, of course, and then, of course, you have the employment opportunities. Because some people, again, if they live close to places, they have the opportunity. I can get my son can get a job, or daughter can get a job here, or get a part-time here. Or, what's close by. Just knowing the area is going to be a big part. And just, presenting that to buyers, really, and selling that.
No, that's definitely going to be huge. Yeah. Number 7, looking at your competition. So when we come in, we help you, help put a price together for pricing, and we have to price it according to the competition. So there's something that we always like to say. You have to win the price war and the beauty contest if you want to get the house sold for the most and the quickest. So, and you'll see, somebody down the street has their house, up at $550. It's very comparable to yours. They're going to go one direction or the other.
Right. Yeah. When you're looking at competition, obviously for your area, your neighborhood, you got to understand buyers have choices now. This isn't the market where homes are selling, before they even hit the market, or they're coming soon, sight unseen. Like that's just not happening. Especially, I'm not gonna say it's not happening, but I'm not gonna say it's definitely not happening like it was.
Right.
It's just not that. So you got to be mindful that, I was working with a buyer here recently, and it was the same thing. It was, this is nice, but I'm just not 100% on it. I'm gonna go down the street. They're not willing to budge a whole lot on price, so I'm gonna go down here. I'll just keep looking. Like I've heard more buyers say, well, I'll just keep looking lately than the past 2 years, really, which is a huge change, obviously. Knowing your competition, pricing it correctly is going to be a big factor, depending on your time frame, what that looks like. But we always, like I always say, I'd rather price it correctly, have the market chase us than us chase the market. And I don't know about you, I'd rather be talked up than talked down.
Good point. So number 8.
Yeah.
Look at homes that have gone under contract in your area, in your neighborhood. It's one of those things that, normally we look at homes that have sold, and we look at that as a comparable. However, sometimes if we've seen a property that will go under contract, 9 times out of 10, we're going to reach out to that agent, that's the listing agent, and say, can you give me any kind of information and what's gone on with this price?
Yeah, obviously, so again, knowing the competition, we don't use under contracts as a part of the comparables when we do a comparable market analysis, because obviously we don't know what's going to close for. But we do look at it and say, hey, this house at this price, is comparable to yours in terms of size, pictures look good, condition wise, we obviously haven't been inside, but it's sold in 3 days, or it's sold in 60 days. Like that's going to tell us, what's going to tell us
it's going to tell us
priced correctly. It's going to tell us a lot about the property. It's going to tell us a lot about the market, how fast homes are moving in that neighborhood. If you price them correctly, gives us an idea. Again, it's just another factor, another piece of the puzzle we use to put it together.
Number 9, similar homes to yours that have sold. I think this ultimately means comparables.
Yeah. So again, we're looking at properties that actually sold, what they sold for, because those are the ones that we're going to look at price per square footage. We're going to look at acreage. We're going to look at bedrooms, bathrooms, condition of the property. Corner lots. Are you in the deep of the neighborhood? Are you not in the neighborhood? Are you in the front of the neighborhood? We just look at everything, right? And we're going to find the properties that are most like yours, because one, that's what our appraiser is going to do, and that's what a buyer's agent is going to do, and we want to price it correctly. So we want to make sure, again, we are setting you in the best position possible right out the gate.
Number 10, analyzing the conditions and price of the properties that did sell. Take, for instance, you look at one home and it's literally falling apart on the inside. And yes, it probably did sell.
It's a dump.
Yeah, it's a complete dump. But then there's one, could be one right down the street, and it's just complete gold on the inside. You just have to understand what one looks like compared to yours.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just knowing the condition that the property sold in. Again, if you're comparing yours to this property that just sold, down the street for 60,000 more or 100,000 more than the price we're talking about at this time during our consultation, we have to look at all those factors. What had it going to contract at that price, right? So those are things we just want to take into effect, and part of the conversation we'll have.
You want to take number 11?
Yeah. So number 11, we look at months on inventory. So we're going to stick here for a minute because this is pretty important. So if you don't listen to anything else tonight, listen to this. Okay. We're not going to sit here and bore you with numbers either. But of course, when we look at months of inventory, so what that means is, to make it simple, if nobody put their house on the market as of today, no more houses hit the market anymore, right? We only sell what is actively on the market right now. We only have, that tells you your months of inventory. And right now, we have 1.8 months of inventory as of November, right? So the National Association of Realtors tells us that if you have less than 6 months, you're in a seller's market. If you're at 6 months, you're in a balanced market. If you're more, then you are obviously in a buyer's market. Now, of course, this is data. It doesn't account for the market, the trends, how fast the market moves. Because that 1.8, that was 1 a year ago. It has increased 80% year to date from last base of December till today. So 80% the market has shifted like that quick. And of course, the data, the market shifts faster than the data really predicts. Obviously, we can see, but
and when you say 80%,
80% up, or 80% more inventory. Like it's jumped from 1 to 1.8. So it says 80%, right?
Okay.
Yep.
So I know at one point during the super sellers market, where we're sitting right at around
0.3, 0.5. It was crazy.
0.5 months worth of inventory.
So like half a month of inventory. When homes are sitting in the market, average day 3 to 5 days, right?
Jeez.
The big thing, and one of the other numbers that we look at too is, your days, from list to close. As in the day it goes active on the market to the day it closes, we're wrapped up, money in the bank, right? We looked at that day, 76 days. So when we have conversations, you say, you know what, Brandon, Mike, I love what you have to say. You guys are great. I'm going to wait 3 or 4 months to put my house on the market. I'm going to wait 3 or 4 months to sell my property. Now, of course, there's conditions, over objections. I'm going to wait till school ends, this and that. Completely understandable. When I hear that, of course, we always ask one question. If it made financial sense to make that move sooner or later, put the house on the market that we're in now, rather than wait, would you be open to that conversation? So we always ask that question. But we understand there are conditions. But what that means really, again, is telling us that the time you go on the market is active to the time you close is an average of 76 days, which tells me, again, if you're telling me you want to wait 3 or 4 months, we're there. We need to be on the market yesterday. Because you're averagely sitting on the market 34 days is average days on market, which is also telling me that you got average days 34. That's entire MLS. So, of course, it doesn't, there's some neighborhoods that sell faster than other areas, this and that, price points.
Mm-hmm.
But what that tells me is that you've got 34 days just on the market. Then if you had 30 to 45 days under contract, if you did get a seller possession or seller leaseback, after closing, that's another thing, but that's after closing. So, but again, your average is 76 days. So if you want to sell in March, we need to be on the market right now.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing about it.
Or at least having a conversation.
We need to at least be having the conversation. Yeah, you're right. Have the conversation, go over options, see what it looks like. Because, you do the coming soon program and this and that to build that interest. That, you're coming soon. So then active to closing is a whole different thing. So just some big numbers there. And then of course, people are getting, 95% of what they listed for right now. And that's the MLS average. Obviously, you're going to have people that average a little higher than that. But that's the MLS average, 95%. So it really tells you price it correctly to get what you want. Because right now, a lot of sellers are still thinking it's that crazy time. Let me list it for whatever I want, and I'll get even more. That's not the market we're in anymore. It's the conversations we really got to have.
That is definitely not the market that we're in anymore, and it's a rude awakening for some of the people that's working with, because back in July, it was what, let's squeeze the last bit out of this, and let's get that astronomical price that we're looking for. Now it's pretty much like all we're hearing on the other ends is crickets if it's not priced right.
And here's the thing: it's not. Everybody says, "Oh, the market's crashed or the value's gone down." Here's the thing: your value didn't go down, right? We're just a level of market. It's just a normal market. It's what you're not getting is you're not getting a $300,000 house, and you're not getting $400,000 for it for $500,000 or $50,000 due diligence. That's it. You're just getting what the home is actually worth and valued. Now, yeah, I mean, some people, in the past 2 years, you had to pay a little bit to get those, but it wasn't because. I mean, it was mainly because, again, you were going against other buyers. You were going against the market itself, which of course the market too, but you're competing against other buyers, and that's where it really came into. So,
I mean, I think the way that I like to look at it is, for the past 2 years, what we've seen is sellers get that make me move price.
Oh yeah.
Like you'd have any seller that comes in like, oh yeah, I'd move if I got X, Y, and Z. And then it's just like, oh yeah, they definitely got X, Y, and Z. So it's the make me move.
Yeah. Sure. Give me $500,000 for my house. I'll move right now. I'll help you move in.
There you go. You get it. You take it.
But yeah, just wanted to touch on that, for a minute, because again, those numbers are really important. That's the market you're in. Obviously, rates are shifting, this and that. There's obviously ways around that. You talk to the right lender. There's buy downs, and buyers are getting seller concessions, things like that now too. So pricing it correctly is just the way to go to really net you the most amount of money. And that's all we do, is have these real conversations with you about that.
Number 12, and this is finding possible reasons why homes haven't sold. And I mean, homes don't sell all the time. It's literally one of those things. I think over the past week in the Carolinas Multiple Listing Service, we've seen right about 275 homes that haven't sold in the past 7 days.
Yeah, expired, which means your agreement with your agent, is no longer void. Your property was whatever agreement you had with your agent that you had before. Obviously, whether it was 6 months, a year, whatever it was, ran its course. You didn't sell the property, which is unfortunate. But yeah, you have properties that come off the market for many reasons. But we know that let's be honest. A lot of the times the property expires is because of the price. There are
100%.
There are of course other reasons and conditions, but 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, it's the price.
There's no right price that will eventually help sell the property.
Yeah, and that really brings us into number 13, which is analyze the homes that did expire. Because again, we want to see what the reason was. Was it because they just they did price it too high? They were the highest bidder for their house, their property there, or what was it? Because it's saying a lot when the property sits on the market. And it doesn't sell.
No, it's definitely huge.
So I mean, but again, and of course, it could be the agent. We are not all perfect, right?
No.
So I mean, you've got the agents that you do get a listing agent sometimes, but then what you really want though is you didn't get the marketing agent that you needed.
You 100% need that. You need somebody that's going to like actively prospect. You need somebody that's going to do everything to try to help sell the property. Because I mean, the last thing you want is somebody that does the 3 Ps. Put a sign in the yard, pray that it sells, and
place a sign in the yard.
Put it on the MLS.
Yeah. So I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You got to proactively prospect and price watch as well. On top of the many other things that we as agents are now doing. Well, not all of us, but some of us are doing to actually get the property sold. Because again, we actually take pride in our signs not being in your yard for very long. So if we ever do have that conversation, you ever invite us in to have a conversation about what that looks like, know that we do take pride in the homes that we put on the market sell quickly.
100%.
And for more money. So that's just a conversation to have then.
All right. Number 15, this is probably, Oh yeah, number 14.
14.
So consider the price per square foot directly compared to the competition.
Yeah. So I mean that's big as well, obviously, because again we want to look at because again, like I said, price per square foot helps determine a range. And if this house over here, let's just say again, everything was exactly the same, just like yours, condition wise, just everything about it was the same, right? Same updates. You guys know the same contractors. You guys buddy did the same stuff. They have a little more square footage, or they have the exact same square footage, or they have a little less. That we want to see, and it sold quickly, right? We want to know what that looked like, what their price per square foot was, and how that can help us in determining a price for ours. Because we also don't want to overprice the property, and now we're selling your neighbor's house. Because that's what's going to happen. They're going to come. They're going to see yours. The agent's going to show the buyer they're working with your property. They're going to say, "This is lovely. I like it. It's great." Then they're going to say, "Well, I can get the same thing down the street for 30, 40 grand less."
Yep.
So let's go check that out. And now all you've done is you've successfully have a sign in your yard. You've done a great showing, and now your neighbor's getting what they want for the property.
Neighbor's getting the offer, and you're not.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a listing agent and a marketing agent. Because keep in mind, yes, we are agents, but we are a marketing firm. Real estate agent second, and that's I'm not gonna say second, but we're a marketing firm disguised as a real estate agency. It's just what it is.
I mean, one of the things that I always like to say is we're not going to tell you what you need to know. We're going to tell you what you need to know in order to get the home sold quick for the most.
It's not what you want to hear. It's what you need to do.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. We'll tell you. We're going to be very honest with you in terms of just in general and everything. We're going to let you know, hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't a good fit, because when we come to have that conversation with you, or when you have that conversation with anybody, other agents, doesn't matter. You're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. So keep that in mind. We'll be the first ones to tell you, hey, maybe this isn't the best fit. I wish you the best luck. Because again, it's weird to say, but I don't need to sell your house worse than you do. Nope, that's the biggest thing. And that's also the best thing, because now we're not quick to cut a deal when other agents need you to sell that property so they can keep their lights on. That's not how we work.
Pay that power bill, pay for that spectrum.
Yeah, that's expensive. No, we're not. So we're going to tell you what you not what you want to hear again. We're going to tell you, these are the facts. We're going to present you with what we do, our services, how we operate. And if it's a good fit, that's great. If not, that's okay as well. And we'll have that conversation. We'll part ways and shake hands as friends. No big deal.
So last one.
15. Yeah.
One of the main things that we could do or we will do in the upcoming market is it's understand what's currently under contract, reach out to those agents, try to get a better understanding of what that property may go under contract or may be sold for.
Yeah, what kind of activity did they have?
Exactly.
Did you have a lot of showings? Did you have no showings? Did you get a couple showings with multiple offers? Things like we want to know, get an idea, and we all work together. So reaching out to these other agents is part of the job.
Yeah.
That a lot of agents aren't sure about anymore. So we're having to actually do things to sell properties that a lot of agents didn't have to do in the past few years. But it's really this is what we do. It's part of the job.
We're going to come up on a market where past year there was 17,000 agents. Hopefully, I'm sure that number is going to drastically go down.
Will go down. So and that's really the 15 steps. Honestly, it's quick, easy. Those are just the first 15 things we do. Once you say and invite us in to come have a conversation with you at the property, no matter where it is. So really, that's it. That's just the first 15.
Also, there's a link below where it takes you to the 151 steps down there I mentioned previously. But guys, thank you for joining us this evening, and also go ahead and like, comment, and share for all things real estate related. Do yourself a favor, go ahead and subscribe and follow. And go ahead and check us out at Carolina'sLuxuryRealty.com.
And of course, gotta always ask and end with this: who do you know in the real estate need that we can help today? If you have anybody that we would be able to have a conversation with, even if it's yourself, just to show you some options. You're curious what your home is worth. Again, I don't know what your home is worth, but I can give you some numbers. We can talk about what that looks like. Feel free to message us, and we'll have a conversation then.
Also, just DM us any questions that you may have. We'd be happy to answer. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope y'all have a great evening.
Y'all have a good night.
Ooh.